Rate 384-93.
Hey, Cudahy to all my friends and relatives in four directions. This is Robert Pilot of Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake. I'm here to ask you for your support. Finding honest Native-centered news is not easy. But with your support, we're able to provide accurate information about Standing Rock, Line 3, treaty violations, and COVID-19 in our Native communities. Please visit Native Roots Radio Network on Patreon and donate if you can. That's Native Roots Radio Network on Patreon. Pinigigi, and thank you for your support.
What does it mean to begin? Creation Story explores Native origin stories through powerful contemporary art, connecting past and present with every brushstroke in sculpture. Explore how identity, culture, and resilience are shaped through art. Creation Story, now at All My Relations Arts through July 26th. This exhibition invites you to the heart of the Ochate Shikoin storytelling, where spiritual relatives guide the way. Open to all. Learn more at allmyrelationsarts.org. Experience the beginning. Experience Creation Story at All My Relations Arts in Minneapolis.
Doherty Family College at the University of St. Thomas is your pathway to a bachelor's degree. Located in downtown Minneapolis, Doherty Family College offers an affordable education that includes free textbooks, a laptop, meals, career coaches, and a Metro Transit pass. As a full-time Doherty Family College student, you'll benefit from mentorship from St. Thomas faculty, along with paid internships and support from Minnesota's largest private college. Ready to turn your dreams into reality? Apply now at dfc.stthomas.edu. Doherty Family College, your journey to success starts here.
Support for Native Roots Radio comes from the Walker Art Center, an art space that's more than the spoon and cherry. Galleries celebrate contemporary visual art, including Indigenous artists like Edgar Heap of Birds, Cheyenne and Arapaho Nation, and Jim Demini, Ojibwe. Additionally, films screen in the cinema, and performances are shown on stage. Free every Thursday night and free every day for members and citizens of tribal nations. Learn more at walkerart.org. Again, that's walkerart.org.
Signing up for $1 bus and train rides with the Transit Assistance Program, or TAP, is quick and easy. Do it straight from your computer or phone by uploading one of the pre-approved documents listed at metrotransit.org/TAP, along with a copy of your ID. We'll mail you a to-go card with a full year of discounted rides. For questions or translation help, call 612-373-3333. 612-373-3333.
With your AM 950 weather, I'm Brett Johnson. Look for partly cloudy skies tonight with a low around 66. Thursday showers and storms with a high near 81. And Friday more rain with a high around 63. With Natural Lawn, you get more than lawn care, you get peace of mind. Their eco-friendly approach uses safer products, fewer chemicals, and expert soil testing for a lush, healthy lawn. No contracts ever. They even blow off your sidewalks and driveways after each visit. Go green with Natural Lawn. More at naturallawn.com.
Portions of Native Roots Radio may be pre-recorded.
It's a good day to be Indigenous.
Get up, stand up.
They are going to become more brutal.
Because all the hippies were trying to be Indians anyway.
They're going to become more repressive because it's a matter of dollars and their illusionary concepts of power.
Hey, Victor.
We must live in balance with the earth.
And also with recent happenings at Wounded Knee.
I am awake. Welcome to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and I'm your host, Wakanja Hade. Hey, Cudahy to all my friends and relatives in four directions. You are listening to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and I'm your host, Robert Pilot. Hey, we discuss local, national, Native news and events. And as you know, Chujunk, Native issues are human issues, and human issues are Native issues.
Yes, you are right. I got this episode of Minneapolis AIR, American Indian Relations on Native Roots Radio, is supported by the city of Minneapolis.
Hey, Minneapolis is the home of one of the largest urban Native American populations in the country. We're thankful to have these updates from Minneapolis American Indian community specialists. Here's our guest host, Christine McDonald. Welcome.
Thank you. Bushu, Ogadaki Gabuik Nindishnakas, Ajijak Nundundem. I am Christine McDonald. I am the American Indian Community Specialist with the City of Minneapolis, and I'm your guest host tonight on Minneapolis AIR. Before we get started, I have a really interesting news bite that I wanted to share out. And it is that the Lock and Dam land transferring to Dakota Stewardship is happening in Minneapolis. Federal land near the Upper St. Anthony Falls Lock and Dam will transfer to Owamini Yamini Okodayapi, a Dakota-led organization working with the Minneapolis Park and Recreation Board to create a community space at that site. The space will feature indigenous vegetation, restored water flow, and a renewed connection to our river. The historic transfer, which will put sacred Dakota land back into the stewardship of Dakota people, has been nearly a decade in the making, and it reflects years of collaboration between the city of Minneapolis, federal leaders, Owamni Yamni Okodayapi, the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, the Minneapolis Park and Recreation Board, the 4 Dakota tribes of the Minnesota state groups, and community stakeholders. Efforts to transfer management of the site began in 2015 when the upper lock was closed to maritime traffic to help the spread of the invasive carp, those carp that used to jump up out of the water or do. In 2020, Congress passed legislation ordering the transfer of the site from the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers to the city of Minneapolis or its designee. And the city chose Friends of the Falls, which has now become a native-led organization known as Owamni Yamni Okodayapi, as its designee to transform the area into a community space that honors its indigenous significance. And you can read more about that transfer and the project at the city's website, which is www.minneapolismn.gov. So thank you. And today we are joined by guests from the city of Minneapolis phone lines for 311 and 911. Katherine Payne is a 911 call taker, and Dani Minichino is a 911 top supervisor who will be talking about when to call the emergency hotline 911. From 311, we're joined by Cleapatra Young, who is a customer service agent. Thank you for joining us today. And our first question will go to Cleapatra. Can you tell us about what you do at the city and a little bit about yourself?
Well, yes. Well, thank you for having me. My name is Cleapatra, and I am a 311 customer service agent in the city of Minneapolis call taking contact center. I am one of 27 agents, and I've been in this position for about 2 decades. I do enjoy my job very much. I enjoy helping residents with their issues and making sure that they get to where they need to go.
That's amazing. Thank you. In Katherine and Dani, can you tell us about yourselves and what you do for the city?
I'm Katherine Payne. I am a taker here in the city of Minneapolis. I'm also one of our CTOs, so I train new coming hires, and as well as I'm a part of the community education and outreach program.
And I'm Dani. I'm the 911 supervisor. I oversee the floor staff and operations on overnights. I'm also part of the community engagement team, and I've been with the city for almost a year.
Oh, pretty new. That's great. Thank you. So Cleapatra, what is 311?
Sorry, take myself off of mute there. My apologies. So 311, we are the city department responsible for delivering city services and information. We're open Monday through Friday, 7 to 7. We're the city's information source. So you call in when you need assistance with handling city services like unshoveled sidewalks, street lights, barking dogs, your utility bills, anything that you need to report to the city. We can be reached again Monday through Friday, 7 to 7 by phone. We have a mobile app. You can email us. We also handle some non-emergency police reports. So you can give us a call for like theft, car break-ins, damage to property. So.
I know when you guys got that app, one of the cool features that I found was that you could, if you like, there were a sidewalk was terrible, you could take a picture of the sidewalk and you could send it into 311, and that would kick off like a project note or something that 311 could send and forward to Public Works. So that app has just been an amazing feature and allows the residents and guests in the city to access so much more than just picking up a phone. And if you're in a space where you don't want to make a phone call, or if you're on the go, you can take that picture and you can send it like the next day even. So how about 911? What all does 911 do? Are you guys?
I don't think I have their audio right now.
Yeah, we're not picking.
Maybe could you try coming out of the room and then coming back in? And then Christine, maybe we could move to the next
better.
Oh yeah, it is better.
Yeah.
Okay. So 911 is going to be the opposite. We take calls for emergency services. So anytime you need police, fire, medical assistance, or you need the behavioral crisis response team, we dispatch for the Minneapolis Police Department, the fire department, animal control, and then we work closely with North Memorial EMS and Hennepin County Medical Center, also Minneapolis Park Police and Transit.
What kind of issues should people call 911 about?
Well, definitely anything that's in progress or something that just happened, any like threat to life or property that's, again, in progress or just happened, that's imminent. That way we can dispatch police out there as soon as possible. Of course, if there's anything having to do with fire, if there's something on fire, smoke that you're seeing, as well as like if there's a medical emergency, if you're seeing someone fall down in the street or just laying down on the ground, a wide array of things that, again, if there's an immediate need for someone to be out there to be checking on the welfare of, life or property.
Mm-hmm. Do you still, does Minneapolis still work with the behavioral crisis team?
They do. Yep. We also, of course, dispatch for them. So same thing. If there's someone that you're seeing is presenting some type of mental health crisis, we can get them out as well. That way they can go out there to make sure they're safe and, can get the proper help and resources that they need.
Does the caller have to request that specifically, or do you kind of suss that out in the questions that you ask throughout the call?
It could be both. We have people that, of course, are aware of BCR and will ask for it. And then, so if they're not aware of it and we feel like it's a scenario that does fit kind of like that criteria that we would normally send BCR out for, then we would kind of choose that option as long as we know that there wouldn't be any threat to, the BCR team and those responders. We'd make sure that, they're safe as well. But yes, we can make sure that we get them either way.
You said you also work with Metro Transit. You guys do dispatch for them as well?
We don't know. We just partner with them if we need to.
Okay.
Hey, why don't we'll be right back. You're listening to Minneapolis AIR, American Indian Relations on Native Roots Radio. We'll be right back.
The city of Minneapolis is now on Native Roots Radio with Minneapolis AIR. AIR stands for American Indian Relations. Guest host Christine McDonald talks to people about important things affecting the city's Native communities. Minneapolis AIR dives into topics like public safety, public health, elections, and so much more. Tune in to Minneapolis AIR on Native Roots Radio from 5 to 6 p.m. on the second Wednesday of every month, right here on AM 950.
Signing up for $1 bus and train rides with the Transit Assistance Program, or TAP, is quick and easy. Do it straight from your computer or phone by uploading one of the pre-approved documents listed at metrotransit.org/TAP, along with a copy of your ID. We'll mail you a to-go card with a full year of discounted rides. For questions or translation help, call 612-373-3333. 612-373-3333.
Everyone wants to maximize their dollar. If you're looking for a new vehicle, the only place to go is Rudy Luther Toyota. Consumer Reports Best of 2025 edition has the most reliable vehicles as Toyotas. The Toyota Corolla, RAV4, and RAV4 Prime top the list of the most reliable cars. And Toyotas are fuel efficient, meaning less money at the pumps. Consumer Reports Best of Gas Mileage ranking has the Prius Camry, Corolla Cross Hybrid, RAV4 Hybrid, and the Highlander Hybrid top of their classes. Reliability and fuel efficiency, you'll find them both at Rudy Luther Toyota, 5 miles west of Minneapolis on 394.
At Metro State University, students learn from expert instructors in high-demand degree programs like healthcare, technology, cybersecurity, teaching, and business. As one of Minnesota's most diverse universities, Metro State is dedicated to providing a welcoming environment for all students. Explore 60-plus bachelor's programs at their May 29th open house in St. Paul. Learn about how free tuition is possible for eligible students through the North Star Promise Scholarship. Visit metrostate.edu/open house. Know your power. Metro State University.
Welcome back to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and this is Robert Pilot.
This episode of Minneapolis AIR, American Indian Relations on Native Roots Radio, is supported by the City of Minneapolis. And here's our guest host, Christine McDonald.
Welcome back. I'm Christine McDonald, American Indian Community Specialist with the City of Minneapolis. And today we are joined by guests from the city's phone lines, 311 and 911. We have Katherine Payne and Dani Minichino from 911. And we have Cleapatra Young, who is with us from 311. And I have questions for both of you. How about for 911? Can you tell us, how do people know which number to call?
Oh no, we lost our audio again.
Yes.
Can you please do that little trick? I don't know why it keeps doing that.
Is that better?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're going to want to call 911 anytime there's an immediate threat to life or property. Kat was kind of saying earlier that can be anything if there's medical related, fire related, if you see somebody with a weapon, somebody just stole your car.
Yeah.
Got anything else?
That's exactly it. The thing is, a lot of times we can transfer to 311 and they can also transfer to us. So if you're ever unsure, and it's not a big deal for us to transfer over. Again, we kind of judge things again by like, is it happening now or how soon did it happen? Mm-hmm. If it happened long ago where it's like you're not in danger, no one around you is in danger, then a lot of times either you can start with 311 to see if they are able to help out, otherwise calling our non-emergency line.
Okay. Is it possible to make a 911 call anonymously?
It is. Yep. A lot of people do prefer to be anonymous. So we have that option to, put it in there that we're not looking to leave their name. We just put it in as anonymous. That way, when there's a report done, it doesn't have a name associated.
So if they witness something that's going on, but it's not necessarily happening to themselves, they're able to make a 911 call and not be connected to that call.
Exactly. Yep. It's not a requirement for us to have their name.
Great. Thank you. And so 311, how do they determine when to call 311?
So 311, you would call for just normal city services, non-emergency police reports. City services would be, we handle the impound lot. You need a voucher for solid waste. You want to figure out how to get building permits, anything that pertains to the city government that you need assistance with. You want to call us for non-emergency because that frees up 911. And some examples of non-emergency, which we have a lot of currently, would be hit and run. So if someone hits your vehicle and they left the scene, you can call 311. We'll assist you with that. Any damage to your vehicle, theft from your vehicle, identity theft, lost property. But one thing that you want to keep in mind when people call 311, they'll call 311 when they actually need dispatch, like for welfare checks or things that they need the police out there right away. And sometimes 311 has long hold times. So if you think that you need dispatch or a police officer out right away, go through the 911 line.
And then also I do know, one thing I learned is if somebody was a victim of a crime that happened last week, they can still call. So 311 would probably be the better option since it's not like a crime in process.
Exactly.
Okay. That's great. Thank you. Is there anything people should keep in mind when calling 911?
Oh no, it did it again.
Oh. Can you hear us?
There we go.
Okay, sorry about that. I was saying that, we definitely, when you're calling, we need a location. It's unfortunately a misconception that, we're able to find people or locate them without having that. And that's not always accurate. It's not, like the movies, unfortunately. So when people call, we definitely ask that they try their best to provide a location, whether that be an address or intersection of some sort, or even like a business name, a landmark, something identifiable, nearby. That way we can kind of, look that up and try to find out where they are. But that's definitely number one for us, is we need to know where you are in order to send help to you.
I think the second part is we're going to ask you a lot of questions, and I know the public can get irritated with that, but we do it for a reason. We have to know what responders to send and what kind of help that people need. So
yeah, the most important thing with that too is like it does not delay help.
Yeah.
A lot of people also think that, and that's the whole reason why they become frustrated with the questions, is because they think that we're not able to send help until that happens. And that's not the case. Like, we have our call takers and dispatchers that are all working simultaneously to get that done and get help sent out while we're asking those questions and on the line.
Yeah. And it's just for everybody's safety, citizens and officers or firefighters, whomever's we're going to be responding. So
what if I'm with this, everybody has cell phones now. And what if my cell phone has like a 651 or 763 and I call 911? Because I'm in Minneapolis and I'm experiencing something that's an emergency. Does it go to Minneapolis or what happens?
Yeah, it pings off the closest cell phone tower. So, and it can be pretty accurate. So if you're driving on the highway, it'll ping you over to State Patrol Dispatch. We have the ability to transfer to other cities or PSAPs within the state too. So if you need a welfare check up in Duluth, we can transfer you if you call 911.
Thank you. Can people get help in languages other than English?
Yes, for 311, we use a interpretation line. We mostly get Spanish calls, Somali, Hmong. So we do those languages, as well as about 200 plus language, 224, 27 languages that we're able to get on the line to assist you.
How do you decipher what language they're calling you in?
They usually tell us right away. Working in this position for 2 decades, I can kind of pick up most languages before they tell me. So
that's incredible. 911, do you have language barriers?
Yeah, we do. And we also offer those language services as well. So same thing, they'll call, and most people, thankfully know that, they need an interpreter. So they'll just ask for one right away. And yep, we can get 224 plus interpreters available, for whatever their need is.
Do you happen to know how many of your staff are multilingual or bilingual? Or do you have call takers that?
I don't believe we have any.
Yeah, we have a couple that are bilingual, but because of how our center is, we still use our language services.
Okay. Where can people go to learn more about the services that you provide at 911 or 311?
On the city website, 911 has a specific page, and then so does 311, and it'll give you a rundown of things that we dispatch for, or same with 311.
Exactly. Another thing is 311 is specific to Minneapolis. But some people will call in when they're outside of Minneapolis and they can't reach us. 311 only works within the city limits. So we do have a long line, which is listed on the city website or even the Minneapolis 311 site, 612-673-3000. That'll route you directly into 311. You can text us. You can email us. Just go to City of Minneapolis website and look up 311, and it'll give you all ways to contact us.
So if I wanted to text you, I would just text 311 and then whatever question I had or whatever concern.
You would text 311-898 and then whatever concern you have.
Okay, thank you. Is there anything else that you'd like to share with our audience today?
Same thing for us. I'm sorry. We also have the text to 911 feature. So yeah, if there's any scenario where you're unable to call, whether that be because you're in an unsafe situation or you're not feeling comfortable, whatever the case may be, we definitely have that option for people to text 911 as well.
And when you do call 911, I think the other thing that we ask is just don't hang up if we don't answer right away. We're very busy. We try to triage as best we can, but don't hang up the phone.
That's good to know. So one more time, is there anything else that needs to be mentioned or said or people should be aware of for either 311 or 911?
Yeah, if you are unsure, we're specific to city government, but if you're unsure, then just give us a call. We'll help you out. Even if it's out of scope for me, like little old ladies or little men or people with language barriers, I'm going to help you. So just give us a call. We also have our service center, which is in downtown Minneapolis. We also have a service center on East Lake Street that provides a lot of services, including going in and doing police reports virtually with one of the agents on the phones. We're going to be at most events within the city. More than likely, you'll see me. I'm at most of the events. But again, just if you're unsure, call us and we'll be able to assist you or route you to where you need to go.
Where's the service center on Lake Street?
It is on East Lake Street, right off of a lake in Hiawatha. I don't have the address, but right at Lake in Hiawatha.
Is it part of the new safety center, the smaller safety center? Okay.
So that's new. We have 2 agents there, and they're being trained on how to take police reports. So if you'd like to go in and do a non-emergency report, they can assist you.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you for joining us today. We appreciate all the information that you provided us with. Any other questions could probably be found at the city's website at www.minneapolismn.gov. And thank you all for joining us today.
Thank you for having us.
Hey, we'll be right back. You're listening to Minneapolis AIR, American Indian Relations on Native Roots Radio. Roots Radio.
The Stronger Together Pride Benefit Concert and Dance Party is coming to the Granada Theater in Uptown on Thursday, May 30th, and it's one night with a whole lot of heart. Hosted by Nina D'Angelo, this 21-plus event features live music from Ryan Cabrera and a high-energy dance floor driven by DJ Shannon Blowtorch. It's an incredible celebration, but it's also a fundraiser with a whole lot of impact. This year, Twin Cities Pride is facing a $200,000 funding gap after losing major sponsors. This event is a powerful way for the community, supporters, allies, and everyone who believes in Pride to step up and help close the gap. There are multiple ticket options available from general admission to premium experiences. So however you show up, you're making a difference. Presented with support from the Car Guy Concierge. Find tickets and event info at tcpride.org. That's tcpride.org. Celebrate, support, and help power what comes next, because we are stronger together.
Boldly challenging ableism is here to go where some people won't. I'm Katrina Simons, and every week I'm digging into the real impact of ableism, breaking down myths, calling out barriers, and pushing for a world where disabled people belong in every space. With my work at the University of Minnesota's Institute on Community Integration and a lifetime of lived experience, I'm diving into everything from employment and housing to justice and culture. And yeah, I bring some humor and heart along the way.
Boldly Challenging Ableism debuts on Sunday, May 18th at 2 o'clock on AM 950.
Hey, this is John Parker with The Gaily Show. Who knew 20 years ago, even 10 years ago, that social media CEOs would deliberately turn their platforms into far-right engines of fascism? TikTok shares your personal data with China's authoritarian government. Twitter is the primary site for MAGA organizing and spreading their propaganda. And now Facebook, Instagram, and Threads have not only stopped fact-checking far-right disinformation and lies, but they wrote the following policies, telling its users that they can post, and I quote, allegations of mental illness or abnormality when based on gender or sexual orientation. And they can also explicitly refer to women as, and again, I quote, household objects or property. So AM 950 and The Gaily Show have moved to Blue Sky, where far-right extremists are banned on site, there is no algorithm, and social media is, well, sociable. Plus, we've created a listener starter pack just for you. Use our starter pack to immediately follow all of your favorite AM 950 shows already on Blue Sky. We're at thegailishow.org. That's at thegailishow.org on Blue Sky.
This is AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota.
When was the last time you had your roof inspected for extreme weather and hail damage? This is Chad, owner of AM 950, to talk about the exterior construction company I trust, Snap Construction. If you've noticed new roofing projects in your neighborhood, your home was likely hit by hail last summer,
and experience damage. Snap Construction is helping homeowners like you, and they're the roofing specialists I trust. They are the most well-reviewed contractor in the Twin Cities and have a ton of positive customer reviews from homeowners just like you. Even better, Snap Construction's installations are backed by a lifetime warranty, so you know you're dealing with a qualified roofing expert. You want to work with a company that will be here for a long time after the work is done. Snap Construction has handled thousands of claims and will help you through the process. Do yourself a favor and get a free roofing inspection so you have the facts and peace of mind you deserve. Call Snap Construction today at 612-333-SNAP. That's 612-333-SNAP, or visit snapconstruction.com.
With your AM 950 weather, I'm Brett Johnson. Look for partly cloudy skies tonight with a low around 66. Thursday showers and storms with a high near 81. And Friday more rain with a high around 63. Savor the excellence at Maverick's Real Roast Beef in Roseville. Elevate your taste buds with their range of sandwiches from the savory Philly steak to tempting turkey bacon avocado. Explore crispy chicken, fish, brisket, and pulled pork options. Check out mavericksbeef.com or visit them off Lexington and Roseville.
Hi, I'm Jane Fonda, and you're listening to Native Roots Radio.
And we're back to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and this is Robert Pilot.
This episode of Minneapolis AIR, American Indian Relations on Native Roots Radio, is supported by the City of Minneapolis. And here is our guest host, Christine McDonald.
Welcome back. I am Christine McDonald, American Indian Community Specialist with the City of Minneapolis, and your guest host tonight on Native Roots for Minneapolis AIR. Our next guest is Laura Carroll, a housing liaison from the City of Minneapolis. She's here to talk with us about renters' rights. Thank you for joining us today, Laura.
Thanks so much for having me.
Thank you. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do for the city and what the housing liaison team does?
Absolutely. So I grew up in Ohio. I went to school in Indiana, and then I continued my westward migration and ended up in Minnesota. So I've been here for about 20 years now. I've been with the housing liaison team just since last year, but I have been working in housing for about the last 20 years. So I have quite a bit of experience there. It's kind of an interesting story, though, as far as our team, which was formed back in 2018, because many renters are excluded from the inspections process and don't know about housing maintenance code. So we were created specifically to address the needs of renters in understanding and navigating the regulatory and code enforcement process. So it's a lot of big words, but we come in and we kind of break it down for people and help make it more palatable, more understandable. We partner with Minneapolis residents, with property owners, and with housing inspectors. And our vision is to change the narrative we face from enforcement to compliance, remove fear for renters and property owners, and to prevent displacement of residents. So we kind of work all sides of it there.
That's amazing. What should people know about dealing with maintenance issues in their homes?
Absolutely. So everyone has the right to a safe and comfortable home. Common code violations that we hear about often include leaks, chipping paint, appliances or furnaces that don't work, rodent or insect problems, doors or windows that don't work properly. And that gets into the feeling of being safe from a break-in and or being safe in case emergency medical people need to get into you, like in the case of a fire. You don't have to live with these issues. You have the right to request repairs from the property or property owner or the management company. And if the property owner or management company doesn't make the repairs, you have the right to report it to 311. So I know we were just talking about 311. This is another way residents can use 311.
That's great. So a lot of renters hesitate to report issues in their homes because they're afraid that the property owner is going to retaliate against them. Are property owners or managers allowed to retaliate against renters?
That is an unfortunate issue. Retaliations, though, for reporting a code violation or enforcing your renter's rights is illegal. So even if your lease states that you can't report a problem to the city, that cannot be enforced. Retaliation is still illegal. However, just because retaliation is illegal doesn't mean it never happens. If you are concerned about retaliation, you can call 311 and you can ask to speak to us, the Housing Liaison Team. You can also email us at Housing Liaisons, which is HOUSINGLIAISONS at minneapolismn.gov. And if you have questions about your legal rights in this situation, you can call Homeline or Legal Aid. These are confidential and free legal services. So the number for Homeline is 612-728-5767. And the number for Legal Aid is 612-334-5970.
So in this tight rental market, one of the barriers that renters face is background screenings. What should renters know when they're applying for a rental unit?
Yeah, this is really important. So there's two ways that owners or management companies can screen potential renters. So property owners can either choose to use the city's standard process called the inclusive screening option, or consider applications on an individual process. When you're applying, they will tell you, or you can ask, they should know, they should be able to tell you which option they're choosing when they're reviewing applications. And if they choose not to use the city's standard process, they must allow the applicant to submit extra information like a reference form from a caseworker or documentation of extenuating circumstances. So basically it's an opportunity to kind of make it a full story, as opposed to if there is something that comes up that might not look very favorable, you have an option to at least explain a bit more about what happened or what's changed since then. You can go to the city's website, minneapolismn.gov, and search renter screening for more information specifically about that piece.
I'm interested. Can you tell us what the city's standard process is?
Oh, I would have to look at that in detail. Honestly, I would have to go to the website too and look that up. There are recent changes that happened with that, but also it's not something that we hear about super often. And my work is more kind of reactionary. So I know more about the things that I've directly had to work on in recent weeks.
Okay, thank you. Another barrier for renters are the rising upfront costs of starting a new lease. What does the ordinance say about those costs?
Yeah, that's a really important piece, especially if somebody ends up in a situation where they weren't necessarily planning to move right away, because it costs a lot of money to start a new lease, and also just potentially the moving costs, the moving van, whatever it might be. A security deposit cannot be more than 1 month's rent. And if the property owner or management company asks for more than a single month's rent up front, then the security deposit cannot be more than 50% of a single month's rent. And the renter must be allowed to pay it over 3 months. So again, there's intentionally some flexibility that's built into this ordinance to be able to allow people to be able to have a little extra time if those upfront costs are on the higher side. And for this one also, you can go to the city's website, minneapolismn.gov, and search security deposits. And the math is all on there as well.
Oh, good. Helpful. And so what rights do renters have when facing an eviction?
Yeah, great question. So before a property owner can evict a renter for not paying rent, they must give a notice advising what fees are due. They have to set a timeline for paying those fees, and they have to say who you have to pay. As of March 1st of this year, so pretty new at this point, renters at risk of eviction now have a greater heads up. So in the past, property owners had to give renters a 14-day notice before beginning the eviction process, and that timeline is now a 30-day notice. So renters have a full month before that eviction would actually take place. The 30-day period begins the day the notice is mailed or hand delivered to you. And then after 30 days, the property owner can start the eviction process, the legal process, if the total amount due is not paid and you still live in the property. And if you're concerned about your rights through that process, you can also call Homeline or legal aid, and you can definitely reach out to us, the housing liaison team, as well.
Okay. And then are there other new renters' rights that people should know about?
Yes. So in addition to the longer pre-eviction notice period, a new ordinance called Renters' Rights Mandatory Disclosures also started this year on March 1st. So this is also a new law that's in place. And this is a new standard for transparent renting in Minneapolis. So property owners must share some specific information with renters before they sign a lease, such as the property's rental license tier status and any violations, and then the name and the physical address of the property owner or manager who could be served with legal papers if needed. And then property owners must share other information within 90 days after a new lease starts. That includes local, state, and federal renters' rights, among other information. So basically, the new ordinances are just saying that renters need all the information and they have the right to it and they should get it upfront.
Mm-hmm. And so this new ordinance is available on the city's website.
Correct.
Right. And again, that was at the housing liaison, or that's where they can ask questions.
Both. They can look us up on the city's website. They can also look up renters' rights on the website as well, and that should all be on there.
So they just go to minneapolismn.gov and they can search renters' rights.
Correct.
Or you can also break it down in search for renter screening or information about security deposits.
Correct. It's all on there. And any questions, you can reach out to us. You can reach out to 311. Any licensed rental property in Minneapolis is required to have a placard that's in like the main room of the rental property itself. Our email and contact information is also right on there. So it's really intentionally made to be super accessible to any renter anytime. So you can always reach out with questions.
Is that for multi-units or is it for single?
Any licensed rental property.
Oh, wow. Okay. Anything else that you want to add for us tonight?
We are just kind of this little niche team within regulatory services. And we work intentionally to be connectors, listeners, educators, and supporters. We ensure residents' needs are prioritized through open listening, compassionate understanding, and purposeful connections to meaningful solutions and stabilizing housing resources, which is just a big way to say we're really interested in helping however, whenever we can.
Are you mainly by phone call, email? Are you in person? Do you go out in the community?
All of it, yes.
Great. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. That was a wealth of information. I'm so glad you could be with us.
Thank you so much for having me.
Hey, we'll be right back. You're listening to Minneapolis AIR, American Indian Relations on Native Roots Radio. The Council on LGBTQIA2S+ Minnesotans is conducting a community needs survey. Two-spirit and Native queer voices are sacred and must be heard. Your experiences will guide programs and policies that support our relatives across Minnesota. The survey is confidential and available at mnqt.info/survey. The deadline is May 31st. Honor your story. Help build the future we deserve.
At Metro State University, students learn from expert instructors in high-demand degree programs like healthcare, technology, cybersecurity, teaching, and business. As one of Minnesota's most diverse universities, Metro State is dedicated to providing a welcoming environment for all students. Explore 60-plus bachelor's programs at their May 29th open house in St. Paul. Learn about how free tuition is possible for eligible students through the North Star Promise Scholarship. Visit metrostate.edu/open house. Know your power. Metro State University.
Support for Native Roots Radio comes from the Walker Arts Center, an art space that's more than the spoon and cherry. Galleries celebrate contemporary visual art, including Indigenous artists like Edgar Heap of Birds, Cheyenne and Arapaho Nation, and Jim Demini, Ojibwe. Additionally, films screen in the cinema, and performances are shown on stage. Free every Thursday night and free every day for members and citizens of tribal nations. Learn more at walkerart.org. Again, that's walkerart.org.
Signing up for $1 bus and train rides with the Transit Assistance Program, or TAP, is quick and easy. Do it straight from your computer or phone by uploading one of the pre-approved documents listed at metrotransit.org/TAP, along with a copy of your ID. We'll mail you a to-go card with a full year of discounted rides. For questions or translation help, call 612-373-3333. 612-373-3333.
Hi, this is Governor Walz. Thank you for listening to Native Roots Radio.
And we're back to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and this is Robert Pilot.
This episode of Minneapolis AIR, American Indian Relations on Native Roots Radio, is supported by the City of Minneapolis, and we're here now with guest host Christine McDonald.
Welcome back. I'm Christine McDonald, American Indian Community Specialist with the City of Minneapolis. I do have a couple of news bites that I would love to share with you tonight. The 2025 State of the City Address happened. The Mayor, Jacob Fry, delivered his 2025 State of the City Address on May 6th, centering the power of local government to meet the moment with competence, compassion, and commitment. The mayor reiterated the City of Minneapolis's commitment to each of these areas of community safety, education, affordable housing, climate action, and civil rights. You can read or watch the State of the City Address at the city's website. And then we also have 5 years later, the murder of George Floyd and the events of 2020 ignited a movement and changed Minneapolis forever. 5 years later, the City of Minneapolis reflects on its path of reform and racial healing. We understand that progress requires both accountability and deep community engagement. We invite you to learn more about our progress, our challenges, and our commitment to doing better for the people of our city. You can hear from city leaders about police reform, comprehensive community safety, the future of public spaces, and our journey to end systemic racism in Minneapolis. And you're able to watch a video about that on the city's website. You can read more on the city's efforts and programs and timelines. And you can share how you were impacted by the murder of George Floyd and the unrest that followed. The city is partnering with StoryCorps to archive your story, and you can be a part of the historic archive of community voices. And I guess the other update I wanted to give is after the tragic events that happened in our community about a week and a half ago, community leaders made the decision that out of respect for our grieving community, that we would postpone what was normally a day of celebration for the kickoff for American Indian Month in Minnesota. We usually have that day on May 1st, and in Minnesota, American Indian Month is celebrated in May. And we do that because for us in our state, it started about 54 years ago, and it started with a week. And that movement was led by the American Indian Movement, and it was an effort to educate churches and schools on the contributions of American Indians to society. And so now here we are, 55 years later, and we're celebrating with a month of events. Our parade is going to happen, but it's going to close out Indian Month for us this year. So on May 30th, Friday, May 30th, we are going to have our Indian Month Parade. We'll have floats, and there will be a float contest for a number of our organizations that have signed up. And then later on in the afternoon, the Minneapolis American Indian Center is having a powwow that was originally scheduled for the 1st of May as well. And that is a celebration of their 50th anniversary.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Hey, I know last year's float winner was Minnesota Indian Women's Resource Center, and
Yeah.
they're gunning to win again. We have Ruth Anna Buffalo on once a week too, talking about
Yeah.
this.
Yeah, that was really exciting. She was new to community, so it was really cool the way that they came in and they were able to take that that was our first cheer. That was an inaugural trophy that we had. Yep.
Oh, really?
Well, Haley and I are gonna try and get something together for next year, a big boom box, right, Haley?
We talked
That-
about it, something like that.
Powwow mixtape.
Oh wow, mixtape. That'd be cool. I like how you brought up in the beginning of the show when we started too, Christine, you mentioned the land return with Olami Omni Okorayapi. We had just had Shelly Buck on last week, I think it was, and she was talking about that. And it's been so nice to see the recognition and the work that they are getting and the land to be back in Indigenous hands.
Yeah, and I agree, Haley. All the communities that you were talking about that were involved really kind of blew me away when you were talking about that at the beginning of the show.
I just think that collaboration is important in the fact that that relationship building is happening, that recognition is happening. I think one of the amazing parts of that story for me is that that organization used to be called Friends of the Falls, and the way that the work transformed that organization, and now it is a Native-led organization for our community. And the interesting piece is learning how the land had to transfer from the Army Corps of Engineers to the city of Minneapolis and then to the organization to get into Native hands. So it's not as easy as people think it could be. Sometimes it can be kind of complicated, but I think what's important is the commitment from those parties to make it happen.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And I remember when they closed the dam, you mentioned that too. That's really interesting because we have a boat on the river, and we used to be able to go way up there, but those flying fish and are flying up the river.
Yeah, dangerous and scary. I had never heard of them before that happened. And I thought that was another thing that I was really proud of the city for doing. It was right away closing those lock and dams to protect our river. You know, for us, this place has been a place for our people and other tribes to come forever, you know, for pre-contact. And so it was meaningful that they recognized the need to secure that and protect that.
Kind of reminds me too what happened in St. Paul with Bruce Vento becoming Wakan Tipi.
Yep. It's really neat to see that recognition of having an organization be Indigenous led and moving towards, I don't even know if they realize they're doing it, but the concept of Indigenous thought, you know, how we do our work in our community, how we do our work in our environment, stewards of the land. Yeah.
Well, we don't get to talk too much with you, Christine, on the American Indian Relations episode. I wanted to ask, I think I might have forgot, but where does your family come from?
Which part of my family? So I've got a really large family. So I'm Anishinaabe and Hunkpapa. So I have roots tied to Standing Rock, to Whiter, to Lakudere. And because of all the whole blood quantum stuff, I am enrolled in Lakudere.
Oh, nice. I like them.
But I pray, and my ways are with my Dakota bloodline.
Yeah. So Minneapolis has a really special place in your heart, being part Dakota.
Yep, exactly. Yeah. I think. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. I was just going to bring up too that I want to appreciate how you stepped in on May 1st when we had our ceremony about the murders in Minneapolis. And just want to give you a big shout out for really helping facilitate that in a good way.
Thank you. I think, yeah, it was just important that we didn't, out of fear, cancel everything, you know,
Yeah.
show that support to each other, show that support to the families, and that it was a thing of respect. You know, and then we could still come together and utilize the time that we had already planned to be together.
Yeah.
And it was really nice to see everybody show up, and law enforcement made a commitment to us that they would show up and make sure that our community felt safe coming together, and that was true. They kept their word and they were there, and it was visibly a place where a lot of people felt safe to be.
Exactly. Really good point. I want to say a big peeny gigi for all this information, Christine, and great job that you do here on Native Roots Radio for Minneapolis AIR, and that's American Indian Relations on Native Roots Radio, and it's supported by the city of Minneapolis, and a big peeny gigi, Christine McDonald.
Thank you. I really am enjoying this partnership.
Right on. Well, we'll be back tomorrow. This is Native Roots Radio, and we'll be back tomorrow. I feel like I got a howl there, Haley, just because we haven't howled. Oh. Hey, we'll see everyone tomorrow. This is Native Roots Radio.
Signing up for $1 bus and train